It begs the question, if Israel had taken it seriously, what would it have looked like to thwart it? And what would people like you be saying if Israel had taken those measures? It would have looked awful. Israel would have been saying they were about to invade. People like people like the Gray Zone be saying this is bullshit. Israel, it's an impossible situation. The look of
but I'm not even disagreeing with
you get
that,
my point. The look of preventing it,
but
is horrible.
Right, but it's an impossible situation. But you're only looking at it from the Israeli perspective, and there's also a Palestinian perspective where it goes, "This is an impossible situation to accept that we just have to live under this until."
You think there would be a blockade if there was no violence from Gaza? Why would Israel want to waste their time with walls and block? They don't have it in the West Bank.
But see, this is you're kind of wall, proving like my point here, where it's like you're looking at this from the Israeli perspective and saying.
You don't care about provocations. Somehow you care about America's provocations by saying something but actual rockets coming in, that's not sufficient provocation to say, you know what, you Hamas, you really should be responsible for this.
I'm not saying that's a provocation, and I'm not saying Hamas isn't responsible for that. What I'm saying is that there's also another side to this story, and Israel's also responsible for a whole lot too. And to think that these people who have grown up in a situation where they're utterly dominated by a foreign power,
yes,
is something that is going to, and then the standard is that in this situation where you're being dominated, until not one person here, which you can't really control, one person launches a rocket, you lose all of your freedom.
It wouldn't be
too.
just one. They send.
Yes, I'm just saying that the standard can't be that we will finally make a deal when your side is completely clean. I don't think that's a reasonable standard. And I don't think. I mean, listen. Why is it that we just accept that Israel has a right to continue doing this?
I told you, because the rockets are coming in. Every country.
Okay, but then why? But then why by that? Okay, but by that logic, why do the Palestinians have a right to defend themselves? Because there's been plenty of Israeli aggression toward them as well.
Palestinians have a right to defend themselves.
Okay,
they don't have a right to slaughter as they did. I would say.
Yeah, they don't have a right to kill innocent people. Exactly. I'd say that's true on both sides.
But I would say that this is an interesting question you're raising. I would say that the obligation now, they don't have a right to send rockets into Israel unless they have the intention of wanting to make a peace agreement with Israel.
Do they have a right?
Listen to what I'm saying. It's very important, because if Israel say we're never going to, we don't want to make peace with you, we're going to occupy you forever, then the Palestinians would have 100% right to send rockets into Israel. But if Hamas is the one saying we never want to make peace, and Israel's the one saying we're not going to do this, as Lapid said, until you're ready to make peace, then no, they don't have a moral right. Then they don't have a moral right.
So
you agree with me?
Well, no, not necessarily. I'd have to parse this through, but let me ask you a question. So you're saying if Israel said we're going to occupy you indefinitely, then they would have a right to just attack the country of Israel as self-defense. Okay, so what if Israel doesn't say that, but they've been doing it since 1967?
But they haven't been. They've over and over again come to the table. There were very few windows of opportunity when in '67 there was.
But you see my point though. That I see your point. But so if they say the right thing but occupy you, then you don't have a right.
No. If it's a lie, then they have the same right.
Do they have the right if the IDF comes into Palestinian territory, not even on an anti-terror campaign, just during one of the many occupations, right? So Gaza pre-2005 or in the West Bank or something like that, and they come in to their territory and start yelling curfew and pushing people around and telling them when they can go inside and when they can't. Do they have a right to defend themselves against those guys? Do they have a right to kill one of them? If a foreign soldier came into my house and started yelling at my wife to get inside the house, I would try to kill that guy. Do I have a right to do that? Do they have a right to do that to the IDF?
They might. It's a tough question, because
I'm going to get you in trouble with our people. If I gotta go down, you're going down with me.
Every individual has a right to kill themselves. What you're describing does not warrant the use of deadly force under any system of law. Screaming at somebody to go into curfew, you're not allowed to kill somebody.
At gunpoint? They're pointing a gun at your wife.
Even at gunpoint, I don't think
A member of a foreign military comes and points a gun at my wife. If I have a gun in my hand, I'm
giving you the legal standard. I'm not, again, I'm thinking it through. The legal standard is you have a right to use deadly force if someone's about to use deadly force to you. If a law enforcement...
Pointing a gun at you would, in almost every jurisdiction, be a reasonable...
If a law enforcement officer, and under occupation, Israel is responsible for law enforcement.
Right. So if it's someone who gets an extra kind of... an extra level of like supernatural rights type deal. So like the way a cop could do it to you.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
But at least the exception, and I don't really buy into this because I'm like a radical libertarian, but at least the idea with our police officers, right, is that the reason why they have a right to do that to you is because we have free and fair elections and we get some say in how our government is run. And so theoretically we delegate this power to the cops. But none of that is true in the West Bank or Gaza. They have no say in this.
This is why the origin of the occupation is so important, because no matter what, is if your people are the one who attacked, as opposed to the ones being attacked, that is a different story, and it's a different moral thing.
But there's no statute of limitations on that.
And
you know what I mean?
After this, we should exchange